All right. So happy Monday, everybody out there. First and foremost, thank you guys so much for taking the time to tune in. We have the team and the community from EverSol with us here today. And as you guys could guess, we've seen projects like this in the past. Most recently, the Evermoon project comes to mind. But as I said in my intro when we were just hanging out, these projects make sense. They're simple. They're easy for people to understand, and that's why they have typically done fairly well in the past. And as these guys have showed with their first, week of launch, they've seen some good volume coming in. They've seen the community start to grow, and I'm excited to jump into what they've been able to pay out so far in terms of their holder rewards in Soul. So, with the team here, Ever launched back on the 5th of January at a 50K market cap. As I mentioned in my write-up, that their all-time high was around that $2 million range. They're kind of bouncing between 6 to 700K the last couple times I've checked out the chart, and haven't pulled it up yet this morning. But for me, I'm not a chart guy. It's more about how the community's coming together, what the concept is, does it make sense, and how are these guys going to try and get there? And I like that with this one at EverSol, they are looking, and there's some actual value they're trying to provide in terms of chain education and chain onboarding for Solana, which, obviously it makes sense for the chain to want to provide and some support or maybe engage with a project who's looking to help get people into their ecosystem. So that's one way that these guys can try and leverage that within the Solana network, which is exciting. And again, it kind of alludes and plays into their vision with their scripting release that will come in a future milestone once they hit 10K holders. And that's going to really kind of be where they try and make their mark on the Solana blockchain. Kind of in the interim, however, as I mentioned, they have their 8% buy and sell tax, which allows holders to benefit and be rewarded in Solana for holding Ever token. And they have their trading bot that's going to be released with a deflationary mechanism that's going to kind of come into play. And again, as I alluded to, we have not hosted a project on Solana with taxes, so I'm really excited to kind of see how you guys will be able to add some of that deflationary aspect into these other tokens, because you know tax, I think, gets a bad reputation in the space. Without tax, businesses or entities in the real world would struggle to pay their employees. The expenses would pile up and it would become very costly for an owner or somebody who's trying to develop or grow a brand to stay afloat, because everything would be out of pocket. So just think about how businesses charge, subscription fees, or there's payments for businesses. Well, in crypto, it really shouldn't be any different. So taxes for tokens is not a bad thing. And I'm really excited to know and learn about how these guys are going to be able to add value in the longer term from the deflationary side to other communities as well as their own. So yeah, definitely a little bit more than your traditional just hold and get rewarded token in terms of the vision and longer term, which is why, we wanted to get these guys in here for an AMA. So, just always be sure you're joining the community, going through the white paper, doing your research. Nothing we post is financial advice. However, we've been lucky enough to work with some great teams in the past. So take some time, check out the community. And with that being said, I'll throw the mic over to Ace and Different, and really excited to have the two of you as well as the EverSol community here today.
Yeah, damn, Maurice, take a breath, man.
I know
Really
I just
appreciate
cracked
the
my
intro.
drink, so I'm ready to rock.
Yeah, bro, appreciate the intro. Look, we're excited to be here with you guys. Obviously, it's not my first rodeo with you and Buck. Known you guys from past projects that I've spoken on, and it's a pleasure to keep building in this space with such great projects and teams that actually have some fluidity, right? They actually have white papers. They actually have vision, right, for this space. It's few and far in between. And I get that we're all degenerates and we like to ape into the next Pepe or the next meme coin, and that's all fun, right? But this is not that. This is definitely something that I can see leading into the bull run being something so passive for people that they won't even have to ever touch a single bag again. And I'm speaking from the track record already from this last week. Look, I hold just a little under 0.5%, right, that I've bought myself, and I've already collected around 5 or 6 sold. passively, and it's automatically being sent to my wallet. And I think it's an important thing to note that this is not a reflections coin, it is a rewards token, right? So by holding EverSol, whatever percentage that you have, I think you at least have to have at least 35K tokens to start even receiving rewards. Depending on your holding, right, and depending on the market cap and the volume, of course, you're going to passively receive SOL automatically, and it's in the script. And I can have Ace go through that as we go along. I just want to point out to you guys that this is a rewards token, right? It is not a reflections token, so it doesn't bring pressure on the chart, right? Because that's what reflections tokens do. They bring a lot of pressure on the chart because it rewards you in tokens of that native token, right? So we think we found gold. We struck gold here. Obviously, the team is really passionate about this project, and everything that has been done since inception has been totally honest, totally transparent. The dev has been active, if not 24/7, at least 16 to 18 hours out of the day. The team is here around the clock, myself, Ace, and some others, right? Just educating. It's relentless, and it can be tiring, but it's what's needed in this space, right? Just that relentless education, the reminders, right, of what this is, the pen and pad. I like to refer to pen and pad of reminding people what the project has done, what it's currently doing, and what it's going to do, right? And then listing out the track record, the check boxes. Has the team done this? Has the team done that? And so far, the team has done everything that they said they would do. And the real marketing hasn't really even started. I mean, I would say that the real marketing has started with you guys, right? Pretty much this AMA is a really big kickoff for us to really get the word out there for you guys, because we have survived a week long on SOL, and that in itself is a major triumph, right? Because we all know how I would say, quote unquote, paper handed the SOL network can be, but it's just very easy for people to lose their attention on one project and go to another because they see volume. But the holders that we have here, right, are really convicted, and that's why you see the chart holding at a little above 800K right now. All-time high was a little over 2 mil, and that's totally fine. You get people who just trade crypto, and they're going to sell off some of their bags because they don't know what something's going to do. So GG's, to people that
Well, I'll
collect profits
also
on
say,
swings.
with you guys and the way you're set up, right? If you think about like the concept of holding, well, holding is a little bit a little bit not familiar, unfamiliar, I guess, to the Solana chain, just the way it's been groomed over the last couple of months, just with the, people's mentality typically isn't to hold super long. So I think for you guys, there's it's not even a bad thing if people trade it early, because in the early stages on Sol versus maybe like on Ethereum or something like that, it's all about the community. The community kind of finding its footing and if they'll still be around. And I know that's a bad thing to say, right? But that's kind of just the way the space is right now on Solana. So I think for people buying in, maybe on the pump, selling at all-time high, or maybe just shy of, and then watching the community, I think you guys, through that process of going up and down, have probably picked up a lot of eyes. And if you're able
Mhm.
to show that you can have staying power from a community, like just because of how Solana is as a chain, I think you guys have a chance. Again, it's not financial advice, but if you guys can show staying power on that chain, you do have a chance, I think, to do very well, kind of in that mid to long term range. But I think for you, it's going to be a little bit of a struggle in like that first 2 to 3 week range as you start to develop your community. And with the way Solana as a chain is traded, it's a little bit different than maybe what we've seen with, the previous, hold based projects in the past.
Absolutely. And one thing I think that's helping us out is the rewards feature, because look, I mean, we see GME, I mean, we see all these projects, Bonk, Myro, like these projects, they send really high, right? And people, like, we understand the concept of crypto, right? Being early is being early, and that's how you get the biggest bag. That's how you get the biggest ROI. But the concept of it all is that one person has to put in while the other person puts in, and then you pull out when, the other person is still in, so you get profit. Like, it's all a game, right? But with this, right, this is gonna make you think a little bit differently. That volume that you get on GME, per se, right? Let's say GME is doing like 11 mil volume one day. Imagine 11 mil volume on a coin like ours, right? Whereas you were rewarded in SOL. So the higher the market cap, the higher the volume, the more rewards the holders get, and passively just SOL. And it's a crazy but simple concept. And we've seen an example of this, and it's not to shout out another community or even to throw shade, but like Print Protocol is the only other project that has this type of feature, right? Because we're doing things a bit differently than Print is, but we're one of two, right, projects on the Solana chain that has this rewards concept in SOL. And you guys have seen Print Protocol. I think they reached like 14, 15 million on their all-time high, right? So we're just getting started here. And I think people are just getting acquainted, they're getting comfortable, they're getting to know the team, they're seeing them perform, and they're seeing the rewards, and they're getting bullish by the day because of that, right? Because everything is pointing in the direction of up when it comes to the growth. So if I can just get into the bit of the taxes, like the taxes are 8% on a buy sell, but that 6%, right, of that 8 goes to the holders. 2% is to outreach reserve, which we've already showcased, right? Utilizing that outreach reserve and getting, certain callers to call. We're not overly exhausting ourselves. We just got listed on CoinGecko within the last, 12 hours, right? So that's been done. The CMC has already been working on, right? We've had already talks with major callers in the space, and they're really interested. I think Eric Cryptoman had bought a bag. I think a few others have bought a bag. They just haven't said anything yet, because I think they're more or less just waiting to see how the project is going to do, which is GG's. That's totally, I get that, right? But sooner enough, you're going to see some other callers call this, because there's just too much that the team is doing transparently. That points in the direction of, okay, we're going to call this now, guys, because it's literally holding at these levels, and now it's safe enough for my communities to buy in, and et cetera, et cetera. So token allocation, 10 billion supply, initially 40% for liquidity. We burned 49% at initial launch. So the supply is not even 10 billion. It's actually pretty much half of that. 4% was set aside for marketing. 4% was set aside for early investors. There was like a small private pre-sale. It was only 4%. Wasn't even that much. 1% for the buyback and 2% for teams. I do want to point out an event too, Maurice, because obviously this works off a script. And I only want to point out this event because it showcases how transparent the team is and how honest and bullish they are in their own project, right? Because this runs on a script, right? They're still, troubleshooting and updating, right? Because they always want to make this run as efficiently as possible. There was one morning that I was like, me and the mods were up, and the script had made an error, and it made a big sell on the chart, and it freaked everybody out. Immediately, the team responded, right? Calmed the whole community down, and collectively, the community was so bullish on the project. And still are, that they bought up the supply from like a 1.2 mil market cap. It went down to like 100K. They bought it back up to 700K. And then the team pretty much in that buyback wallet where the script, stores the rewards that get automatically allocated, they spent 550 SOL back on the chart. So they put all that got sold off back on the chart and followed through. And I think that's probably one of the most bullish things I've ever seen in a project, where as the team and the dev, right, they could have ran off with 550 SOL, but they're like, no, guys, it's not ours, it's your guys'. We're putting it right back on the chart. So I think that was a really cool event for us to see with the team, and kind of like almost a bond building moment between the team and the community, right, to collectively come together and say, hey, we're in this together. So I thought that was just really cool to point out. The team is here. They're really bullish on what they have, and their product is just speaking for itself. Ace, do you have anything to add so far? I don't want to talk over you.
No, you can keep it going. I'll touch on the milestones here coming up shortly. You're good.
You're like, hey, bro, you got it. You're rolling.
Yeah, no, he's finding a good name for himself as a speaker, which is great.
Oh yeah, 100%. I've known different for forever.
Oh, have you? Nice. So you guys go way back.
Yeah. We're close. We're very close.
Ace.
That's
if
awesome.
you don't know Ace, Ace and I have worked on many projects together. Sent a lot of stuff to the multi-mills. He's a really good dude. And we're just, again, we love being a part of this project as a duo, because it's just, we do our due diligence and do our research. And shout outs to the YouTube Apes community, because Maurice and Buck, I'm a part of the YouTube Apes group, and you guys totally vet projects. You guys don't speak on things you guys, don't do your due diligence and research on. So we're here, full transparency. I decided to join this team because of how honest they are, and obviously the tokenomics and the rewards feature and everything else. But it's not just that, right? It's cool rewards, okay? And then you ask the question, what's coming down the pipeline? Like, what is going to come after that? Like, it can't just be rewards, right? And you're right, because it's not just rewards. EverTrade is something that's going to be coming as well. It's a utility that's a part of EverSol ecosystem, where it is a swap mech, right? It's going to be a trading bot. Whereas EverSol users, if they buy through the EverTrade bot, they will receive a lower tax, on their buy for EverSol. But right, if you're trading other tokens through the EverTrade bot, it acts deflationary, as in 0.25%, right, will be burned of EverSol, right, and then 0.25% of whatever token that you're buying will be burned. So it's actually deflationary. It's acting as a deflationary method, not only for EverSol but for other tokens that you're in. So it benefits other projects to utilize this bot to cut supply on their own project. It's crazy. Ace, do you want to go a little bit more into that? Because I know that you're good with the specifics on this one.
Yeah, no, that's good. I mean, yeah, it'll be the first bot that's out there that has this feature, and that's going to be huge because a lot of these meme tokens and everything that everyone's investing to, mainly on the Solana side, in the Solana network, they're all zero tax, right? So this actually incentivizes projects to push, hey, utilize EverTrade, right? Because you're now making our token deflationary. And that's huge, man. There's zero tax tokens, so they don't have a way to do anything and collect any source of funding. So just to make a token deflationary, just for utilizing a bot to purchase or sell a token,
Yeah. Maurice, do you have any questions on that?
Oh, like again, that's kind of one of the reasons that I liked it, right? So what's the process? That's what I'm like interested in, because you touched on like the benefits for the Ever token itself, and then the 0.25% that's going to act as a benefit to whatever token is being sold. But what's the process? Like that for me is really what I'm curious about. Like, how is that going to work? How easy is it for users, right? That's the big piece. How easy is it for users to understand? Is there anything that they have to do? I like that with your rewards, you guys have already built up a dashboard. Everybody can go and check them out. It's easy to find, it's easy to check, compare, see how quickly they're growing. Like, how are you guys going to kind of put the same emphasis or focus on user experience when you're building out like the trading tool? Because again, tax on SOL is relatively new to a lot of people, especially those who are trading in that like meme or higher volume space.
Yeah, it'd be as simple to in ease of use as any other Telegram bot that you use, like BonkBot, Banana Gun, Magnum, or even FluxBot, the FluxBeam bot. So it's literally going to be a bot just like that, right? And you don't have to do anything per se. It's just you trade just like you trade with those bots. But on the back end, right, it does the deflationary method of burning either the token, 0.25% of the token supply of whatever you're buying, or 0.25% of EverSol, right?
yeah.
Automatically.
So we'll push out visuals as well, kind of like we do with everything that we've already kind of pushed out upcoming. We push out visuals just to visual learners as well, and also something to take into account. All these other bots that you're using, whether it be Magnum, Banana, BonkBot, they all actually have a hidden fee in there, so that's already there. They just don't really advertise that, but there's always that fee already there. But yeah, it's going to be just like that. But instead of us taking the fee like these other bots do, they take the fee. We're actually pushing it back to, it's a 0.5% fee, but 0.25% of that will go to just buyback and burning Ever. And then the other 0.25% will go to the token that you're utilizing to purchase or sell, and then burning their supply as well. So it's not much different than these other ones, other than where that fee is going and what we're doing with it. So we are actually going to do some stuff with the algorithm too, to try to get a little upper edge on these bots. I mean, that stuff's always evolving, right? So we're always going to be updating and upgrading ours as well. Same with our code, constantly updating the transcript as well, so we can always make that better.
No,
Yeah, great way to put it.
Yeah, it is. And you know, there's outside of BonkBot and I mean even them, I've heard a lot of frustration from users on that recently on
Yeah.
you know, those who use it frequently. So I do feel like there's an opportunity within the Solana ecosystem for a really good trading tool to come in because yeah, from what I've seen, from what I've heard from people who use a lot of the different options, you know, Magnum, Bonk, all these kind of key players, there isn't really one that unanimously has been like, yeah, that one hit it out of the
Yep.
park, hands down, it's the best. Bonk was maybe there 2 months ago, but it seems like they've really been like having issues. People are not getting their buys going through. Like, yeah, they've been having some serious issues. Like the last, I would say 3 weeks, I've been hearing more and more on that side. So it's not a bad time to be trying to push in. How are you guys working to like develop the bot? Like, are you working with users? Or are you guys just kind of identifying stuff yourself? Like, how's the process working to try and find that? Like, I'm going to call it the problem solver. You know, try and do what these other tools aren't doing currently.
Yeah, so we already have like a little closed group of people utilizing it that we already have going on kind of in like alpha stage essentially for the bot. So we have like a little closed test group of 10 to 14 people utilizing that and gaining feedback that way. Once we push it out at first as well, we'll have it in a beta, right? So we can actually get the feedback and all this stuff coming from our own community before we really push it out to the masses. Um, but yeah, that's kind of the way that we are currently testing it and finding all the feedback is within our closed group.
So, and from a, I'm assuming obviously it's going to be Sol native like chain that you guys are going to focus on with regards to the trading and everything, but any maybe additional options, like any way to maybe pull people from other chains into Solana using your bot, like from like an onboarding or adoption standpoint?
Yeah,
Yeah, Maurice, you're thinking on the same wavelength as us. I don't want
yeah,
to talk over you,
we've
Ace,
we've
but yeah,
we've been looking ahead to make sure that that is something that's feasible and that we can do in the future. First, obviously, we're going to primarily focus on Solana, as I mean, we're going to be using that fee towards the tokens just on Solana. But we have also talked about how we can also broadcast and expand, you know, onto you know, BSC, Ethereum, you know. Those are talks that we've also had already as well. But currently, we're focusing on Solana. But future, yes, we'd like to grow and expand to other chains as well. Kind of like a lot of these other bigger bots has, like, you know, Banana, they just came out with their Solana bot recently.
yeah,
Before
for
that, they
sure.
were basically just, yeah, exactly. And then we can do that as well. We can have that fee in there as well. And then just, you know, burn on the token over on the other blockchain, depending where we go.
Oh, that you know, for me that makes a lot of sense, and it's more so like it doesn't have to be about the chain like trading necessarily, but it's more so like how can you get people to try and come on board to maybe make their first buy utilizing like your tool for Solana, right? So like that's
Yeah,
you know something that obviously helps, and you know
yeah,
the
and I
old
think
joke like
one thing to
you
note
never
too.
forget your first kind of thing, right? So
Yeah, one thing to note too, Maurice, I think you know, the team and more specifically the dev, right, decided on Solana because there's massive appreciation that still needs to be had, right? Obviously, we've seen Solana, you know, last bull run around what, 350, $400 a coin. So we're expecting massive appreciation, right, during the bull. So I mean, anywhere between, you know, 400 to 700. A lot of people are saying 1,000, you know, but conservatively, I would say between 400 and 700, right, on appreciation. So as you're passively earning rewards, right, on the Solana chain in Sol, right, you can only imagine the kind of, you know, pop that you'll have with a project like this, you know, as it continues to rise. You know, again, I've earned around 5 to 6 Sol in 7 days. I mean, it's literally almost a Sol a day, right, with my current holdings. And that's just passive. I mean, who doesn't want an extra $500-600 at these levels, right? This is just at these levels. You know, just collecting like that. I mean, you literally can just buy, hold, chill, right, and just let your rewards kind of just accumulate, and then it's like you're working a second job without having to work, and that's the dream, right? That's literally the dream, is to have passive income like that. So I think this token in itself has such an interesting use case. And I think there's just so much room for growth, not only just from a market cap perspective, but from a holder and an education perspective of the space, right? Onboarding normies in the space, you guys know, is not the easiest thing to do, and they usually don't buy on X's. They buy on sex exchanges. So, to have something like this in its infancy this early, uh, and if it hits the normies the way all other coins did the last bull run, I mean, there's no telling, right? They love stuff like this. They love stuff like this. Not overly complicated. It's not a meme. It's definitely has quite the simple utility, but passive income. And who doesn't like passive income? So there's a lot of potential for this, right? And we're just now getting the word out. Obviously, we've been alive for pretty much a week, but we pretty much cycled out who wants to be here, who doesn't want to be here from this floor perspective, right? So we're ready for that next leg, ready for people to come in and ask all the questions they need to ask. The team here is ready and willing, and we have some big people that want to support us, that have been seeing this team and project just grind day in day out this last week, and they really want us to succeed. So don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if you see this pop up 2x from here, 3x from here, 4x from here, and the next upcoming week and weeks, because this is definitely one of those projects where people are witnessing the power of holding, for sure.
It's definitely like more of that kind of like mid to long term kind of project, right? And it was interesting because when we were chatting, when I was in the lead up with Four Leaf, I was like, how would you guys classify yourself? I like what you're doing. The concept's easy to understand. We do some spaces. Like, how would you say you're classified? I was like, I know the vision is more utility, but I was trying to ask him, like, right now you guys are kind of in that the token has utility in the sense of the taxes provide utility, but there's no direct utility itself. So, depending on who you ask, if you're talking to a real utility like Maxi, they get mad if you call that a utility project, right? So I was trying to ask him, how would you categorize yourself? And I said it's kind of like in the meme-ish stage right now, like we've seen with Safe Moon or Evermoon and stuff like that in the past, where they're trying to identify and grow their community, and it's more on the mentality of like mid to long term, which kind of is a little bit of a difficult challenge in itself, right? Because we talked about it. Soul projects sometimes struggle last 24 hours. And we talk about memes, another kind of a bit higher risk kind of sector within the DeFi or the crypto space. But you guys seem like you kind of have that fit to be more mid to long term. And it's exciting because not really many projects we've heard about on Solana that fit that criteria at this point, right? So you kind of have an inherent first mover advantage. I know you mentioned print, but outside of that, potentially nothing really comparative right now. So it's a good opportunity.
And with print, I mean, the only comparison that I'd put really out there is just the way that the contract is, right? The transcript, essentially, how the code is. That's the only thing. I mean, the numbers aren't even the same. We have completely different roadmaps. Like, but yeah, I get it.
No, yeah, and you know what
yeah, well set up.
Yeah, no, and I think it's important to note too that it's not wrong, and I think it's actually really bullish to be a midterm to long term project. I think
100%.
people need to learn what a degen play is, and what a long term investment is, right? And it's still yet to be determined with certain projects, but when you see something like this, you bucket it. You say, hey, this is my long term investment. I'm not going to touch this bucket, but this, I have another bucket of Sol or ETH or whatever network you're trading on, and that you have fun with that bucket, right? So it's almost like treating this project like a long-term stock in a way, right? It's something that's going to passively pay you. If anything, think of it this way, right? I've talked about the rewards that I got in the last 7 days, right? I made 5-6 Sol passively, and I can utilize that to make my degen plays if I wanted to, right?
Yeah,
If I
Well,
wanted
that's
to.
what I wanted to kind of go into next with you a little bit. Was we talked about it, and I kind of mentioned in my intro is, it's nice because yeah, you hold Ever, you're rewarded in Soul, and then like a perfect world, like a perfect cycle. If you guys had to like draw it up and have it go to plan, the concept would be people hold their Ever, they get their Sol. You know, they maybe don't throw all that Sol into Ever, but they're definitely using a percentage of what they're getting back to maybe increase or DCA into different windows that open up or time slots, right? So I like that. I mean, it makes sense. It's a good kind of organic way to potentially grow or at least see some volume trickle into to Ever. And then the other side is like, what do you do to partner with like tokens or projects, right? Because you guys, in a sense, are helping the Solana ecosystem, right? So, like, if maybe they're not going to buy Ever with the Sol that they receive, if you guys have, 5 different partner tokens and then they're all on Solana blockchain, well, the person receives their Sol rewards and maybe they don't buy Ever because they're holding a sizable position, but maybe they go out and they buy one of your partner tokens or something like that. So I wanted to see how you guys are going to leverage the fact that you're rewarding people with Sol. So they have, like, cash, essentially. They have liquid assets that they can utilize to buy stuff and then leverage that to work with other communities, right? Because in theory, if maybe they don't buy the Ever, but if you guys have some good partners, they may buy those tokens, right? So you're providing a value through your mechanism without really even doing any through those tokens, just because you're giving surplus Sol to people to have and use.
That's a great question. That's a really great question, and I think in order to fully answer that, like we've been in talks with certain projects and certain people because they are interested in utilizing the EverTrade bot, right, within their ecosystem, and yet to be determined how we partner with them and what the type of schematic would be for what they offer us and what we offer them. But natively, I think them even just utilizing our bot would be bullish enough for our community to even want to use some spare Sol that they got passively on the project, right? So I think as more projects kind of see us and they utilize the bot when it's released, right? They'll want to just naturally migrate over and to spend some extra Sol on the other projects. So great question, and we are in talks with plenty of projects and not just that, some CT folks that want to actually utilize the EverTrade bot in their upcoming ordeal of a launch of sorts. So yeah, we the sky's the limit, man. Like I said, we're very much in our infancy stages, and we're holding quite well, right, with their levels on the Solana chain. So if you guys look at the chart, right, it's been very intentional the last couple of days. Obviously, you guys know Saturdays and Sundays historically in crypto is not the funnest, right? There are some weekend senders, we call them, but there are projects on an accumulation and consolidation phase because of people selling off their bags over the weekend. But I think we've held great levels, and we're going into this new week and new couple of weeks with our marketing now, and getting the word out there at a good point. So yeah, all projects that we've been talking to have been paying attention to our chart though, and what we've been doing. And I can tell you there's a lot of stuff being talked about in the background of how and when. It's not a question of if, but just a how and when. And we're figuring all those things out.
I love it. And then the other side of like a trading utility is kind of like the leaderboard, like gamification aspect, right? Top traders, like, are you guys gonna to build out any of those features? Like, what are your plans to essentially like gamify the trading tool a bit? And yeah, the copy trading, like that type of thing, all comes into play as you start to gamify more and more in the future, right? So it's just the layers of value that you can kind of provide via that.
Oh yeah, we'll have all those features. I mean, you'll be able to, set stop losses. You can set limit orders. You can have it sell off a certain percentage once it hits a certain market cap. You can have it DCA, when it hits a certain market cap. We will have a leaderboard essentially. Copy trading option will be there. Yeah, so there's quite a few different things that we're actually adding to the bot that everyone's going to be able to see as well. So it'll be
I do
good.
like the leaderboard
It'll be
concept
good to
though
show
too.
those top traders as well. People
Yeah, I
like to
was
see
gonna say I
that,
do
and
like the
it
leaderboard. You
gives a
know
little
what?
edge to competition too.
Yeah, and there
So we
was
will
a
have a top
community member
traders.
this last week, Ace, if you don't mind. There was a community member this last week, I think, that asked Bolton, who was our dev, about some sort of leaderboard system, who's a top trader, or who's collecting the most, things like that. So it's a really cool submission or concept that they thought of, and definitely the dev and the team are thinking about those things. But yeah, from the forefront of what every bot offers, like we'll definitely have limit orders, buy orders, all these things, right? That all these other bots have. We're just going to keep evolving it and make sure that it benefits other projects that are utilizing our bot for them. And at the forefront, it's deflationary, right? So the deflationary method is definitely at the forefront. But yeah, we're thinking of other things as well.
Yeah, and then had a question here come in from a community member, EXO. Have, kind of on that topic, have you guys created or considered creating potentially like almost like a jackpot reward, where a small percentage of the tax gets allocated into a separate pool, and then maybe weekly or bi-weekly, you guys would select one random holder wallet and they get the additional tax payout as almost like just like a reward or like a lottery style system, but not,
Damn.
Okay.
yeah, not,
Haven't
That was
looked
kinda
at
like
that.
that
I
long.
wrote,
That's
I wrote
diverted,
down
yeah.
a good amount of that to take that back with me to the rest of the core team.
That was
Yeah,
good.
that's
That's
interesting.
That's a good
Yeah.
one.
So
I
I
like that
took
one.
down the information. I'll take it back to the core team as well. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that.
And
I
then
like
they
that
were
actually.
curious, same person was also curious if there's a minimum threshold required to trigger the rewards on the Sol
Yes.
side.
Yep.
Yes,
So
there is.
every 1 million tokens, it hits the threshold, and that's what will trigger selling the contract and then disperse the SOL to all the holders. So every 1 million tokens saved up, there is a filter in the chat as well, in our main Telegram as well, so people can track that once that contract or once that wallet fills up to 1 million tokens, excuse me, is when that will be triggered. As well, there is also a minimum holding to be able to earn SOL rewards. Right, it's 35,000 ever. So.
Yeah, which is very small now. It's like very, very small now. Like if I were to do the math on
Right
that, it's
now,
very
yes.
small. Yeah,
Correct.
right now
So
it's like
right
four.
now.
I think it's like $4. Like I don't know. Let me see. Yeah, it's like $4, $4 or $5 to start receiving rewards. And then yeah, the 1 mil. I mean, if we think about 1 million tokens, that's not even that much, to be honest with you, to trigger. So really, really in a good spot, to be honest with you. Yeah. So thresholds and obviously the 35K just to even start receiving. Yeah.
Awesome. Appreciate that. And thanks so much for the questions, EXO. Let me see, just want to make sure we covered everything you sent. So, question here, they did have one more. They just said, was kind of going back through and checking the rewards distribution. It looks like so far there's been about 148K that's been distributed in the SOL rewards. Obviously, that's great for the community and for holders, but it's actually higher than the liquidity, which is 141K. They just said, how do you ensure that like you guys are able to keep strengthening liquidity, keep growing the ratio so that like larger buyers and people are willing to come in? So,
Yeah, great question. So
Yeah.
he's asking if LP will be added essentially.
yeah,
To
or if there's
yeah.
like a percentage that maybe gets diverted back
We
via
just added some the other day to liquidity. I think it was roughly 50 SOL worth. We're going to constantly keep, I mean, we do strategic buybacks here and there as well, right? And then that's also when we cut some of those, we burnt some, and then we are going to continuously add to LP as well as we strengthen and go up. So
yeah, I think it's
right now,
too.
honestly,
I think
if you look at the ratio, it's a pretty good LP to market cap ratio, especially compared to the rest of the Solana network for the most part. But yes, we're going to constantly add as well as we
Yeah,
go
I
up.
mean, personally, for me, you're nothing at all wrong with your ratio. I always say anything, around that 10% is good. A lot of what we see on especially Sol or ETH, when it's newer, is like sub 5% even these days, right? It's gotten worse. We used to see like 20% when I started, then it's gone down to like 10% was my golden rule. Now I'm like, shit, if it's like 5%, I'm actually happy with that, just
You
based
got to
on
be
the way the market is.
Yeah, 100%. So, I mean, we're constantly monitoring the market cap to liquidity ratio as well. So that is something that we do keep our eyes on, and we do have plenty of funds. So not even a concern, but yes, we do keep our eyes onto that market cap to liquidity ratio.
Awesome. No, again, I just wanted to ask that, but for me personally, your ratio looks good, especially being, a week old, nice and healthy so far. So yeah, keep it up. In a good position right now from that side of things, and the community is coming together. You guys are over 1,000 holders, I think, at this point now
Yeah, over
too. So
2,000. Yeah, over
Yeah,
2,000.
2,000. Holy
Yeah,
shit,
yeah,
yeah,
that's
we're like almost
2,000,
quickly. Let's
2,100.
go.
2,100. Yeah.
Yep,
Let's
yep,
go.
we're growing.
That's awesome.
We're growing.
Because I know
Yeah,
that
too. I wanted to point
so
out, since you're talking about
almost
holders, Maurice.
50% there on your first milestone goal.
Yeah,
Then
Yes,
wanted to
sir.
point
that's
out too,
wicked.
since we're talking about holders, at 5,000, because we have some milestones that we're ready to hit. 5,000, we're going to actually release the script for people to be able to view, right? Because it's no secret, right? We want people to see what it is, the technology is that they're buying into. So 5,000 holder milestone, the script will be released. And then I think we agreed on 10,000, if I'm not sure. Ace, correct me if I'm wrong,
10,000's for
if that
EverTrade.
changed at all. For 10,000, when we reach 10,000 holders, the EverTrade bot will be released. So
Yes,
definitely
the
a
only
growth
thing we might
factor.
do, we might kick it down to around 7K holders. But we
That's
just
what,
want to make
okay,
sure that we
that's
have
what I
those
thought. Yeah.
milestones there, right? Those are important, I think,
Yep.
for any project to have
Yep.
milestones. But yes,
Yep.
5,000, we're gonna get that script out, and that's gonna be released publicly on our GitHub. So have tutorials, some videos, and yeah, and we'll even have some one-on-one, some team members that are devs on the team, myself and a couple others, to actually, help out with actually launching the project, all that, do a little bit of vetting. And it's not a cheap contract to run, right? You have to have your own VPS, node, even preferably if you reach a large enough network. So it's not as simple as just going ahead and, going on to Dex Labs and launching it, right? Or anything like that. So,
No, it's
but
really
yeah.
complicated. It's super complicated, man. Again, script is a
Yeah, and I
script,
mean,
but man, if you
even
don't know
with
how
our
to do it,
transcript
like,
right now, we're constantly updating it, and we're always trying to make it better, right? So we're still trying to always constantly improve our transcript just to make it fast. We already have it pretty fast, and it's functioning properly, and everything's good to go. However, we always are trying to still improve it just little bits, right, to make it a little bit faster, especially as we're growing. It's important. So.
I love that. And yeah, I'm not going to sit up here and pretend I understand scripting even myself. So what I liked about the scripting side of what you guys plan to do is just the fact that it's actually focused on helping and trying to add value into Solana via, onboarding, adoption, and whatnot, versus a lot of, what we see in the space. And I always kind of use the analogy of like a vacuum or a vulture, where it's like more take, right? So I think we've seen, meme coins that aren't really given much back, and then ultimately end up kind of like dying off quickly. Even get engagement with some of the founders of Solana and some of these larger names. So this is really where I wanted to lead you guys with my next question is, we've seen projects that really don't have much merit get some traction. So how do you guys go about being, having a vision, having a goal in mind? The concept is simplistic. We've seen it work well on other chains. You guys are going to be able to, over time add some additional value into other Solana, maybe meme coins or tokens that are zero tax. So, the growth or success and staying power of your brand, in a sense, is good for Sol, just in, theoretically. So how do you guys kind of leverage or position yourself to try and get some eyes or some engagement from those guys like Raj Gokul and whatnot, who have we've seen, engage with these meme coins that maybe don't have the staying power that you might?
damn, that is a great question, and it's something that the team honestly has been thinking of too. Because when we have our powwows, obviously, Ace and I, we have a lot of background personally in utility coins, and we love utility coins, but we also have that other side of us that we know about, which is our whole degen side of understanding memes and how hype works, and how community, right, really pushes anything. So we definitely have been thinking, about, not just about the utility, but more or less a case of hype and how we get the attention of like a Raj Gokul or you know, a Victor Bunin or anybody else that's in such power on you know, the CT scale, right? But I think with our team, you know, in having these talks about that, I think we're setting ourselves up in the right direction, right? So we're thinking about what Ace like collections, maybe even NFT collections, maybe even other things, right? To really kind of stimulate visuals, because we know that you know, obviously this space is full of visuals, right? So we're thinking along the lines of things like that. Ace, do you want to follow up with anything?
Yeah, I mean, we'll catch their eyes. Just off of what we're doing here is so much different, and it's going to benefit the whole Solana network in general, right? So they're gonna take notice once they see, hey, what this EverTrade product as well is doing, and just through doing all these different partnerships, because we're going to go after some big partnerships as well, especially once they see how beneficial we can actually be to any project on the Solana blockchain. So.
Yeah, and I think even with the partnerships that we have, those might be the meme tokens that push us out. They're in partnership with EverSol, or like we're using the EverTrade bot, right? That in itself is bootstrap marketing, right, for us to get in front of other players. I mean, again, we love our degens, and we love that we have some people that are actually, you know, kind of turning another leaf. Per se, it's no pun against four leaf, but turning another leaf at seeing, you know, what it's like to hold, you know, onto a token like this. But you know, that's a part of it. I think that we like so much is that we're actually educating, you know, folks on what it's like to hold a grand utility token, right? So yeah, I hopefully that answers, you know, your question, Maurice.
Yeah, no, it definitely does. And again, I had to make sure like I worded it in a way that made sense, right? Because like, you know, I know they're obviously engaging out there with different tokens and projects and communities, but if you guys kind of wait and go at, you know, almost like take your shot at a time where you're adding value to the chain, well, that's going to really get, you know, in my opinion, it will likely be received better, right? And it'll set you guys apart from, you know, the 100 different communities that launch in a week and just kind of like spam those guys on Twitter, right? So, no, I love the approach. You know, if you kind of are able to have that slow play mentality, which, you know, not every project can, because if you don't see hyper volume, maybe in some of these other projects within 24 hours, you're dead. So, you know, just keep it up. I know you guys are well connected, and you do have a little bit of that slow play approach that you can take. And yeah, like, you know, getting traction on a play like this on that chain, just in terms of, you know, rewarding holders in Sol, and then that can be distributed and, you know, utilized for other things on chain or other projects, other communities. There's just a lot of like kind of side benefits for like those top guys. So yeah, no, definitely interesting. And, you know, kind of like what you said, it has to make sense before you go about it. You don't just want to get out there before the messaging is concise. So I like it.
Awesome. Well, if you guys have any more questions, do let us know. I think we covered
Well,
most
yeah, I
of
was gonna say
everything. Ace,
more
did
so
we forget
like
anything? Yeah.
if there's anything like we missed or anything that you guys typically like to get to. I know you mentioned this is one of your first kind of outbound AMAs, so wanted to make sure we did cover a solid overview. But yeah, any specifics, anything you think we missed, we could cover. I'm going to just read back through a couple of different questions I saw
Yeah.
here. Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
What you
so
think, Ace?
one
Did we miss?
question
Yeah.
from Alex is this one's from Alex Costa. His question is, you know, I know you mentioned the threshold on the ever side of things being 1 million tokens before it's distributed. Now on the holder side, say for example, if you hold your bag for a month and then you decide to sell like 20 to 25% of your bag, would that 20 or 25% sell negatively impact your ability to receive the next cycle of rewards, or just trying to understand a little bit better in terms of flexibility as a holder or impact on any cells I might have on future distributions? So yeah, really good question, Alex.
So yeah, it's based off of the holding percentage that you have at the time of that 1 million trigger from that wallet. So yeah, if you have less tokens, like say volume's really high, right? We're at a really high peak time in volume. It's going really fast, and we're receiving transactions every 3 minutes of rewards, right? So it will impact you if you sell and it sells off at 1 mil and you have now a lesser holding. It literally goes off the percentage that you have at that time. There's no previous cycle or anything like that, really.
Okay.
In other words, it's real time. It's real time holdings.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, so like that's what I was curious about. So like all you're saying is like if you went from 0.75 to 0.5, you would just receive you would
Based
still
on 0.5.
receive, yeah, you would still receive
Correct.
it, but you would just be the difference of the minus like the 0.25 that you sold off would be what you no longer receive the rewards upon.
Correct. So you'd probably
yeah,
receive a reward roughly 1/3 less.
Yeah,
If
that
you
makes
cut out
sense. I know
0.25%.
I know some protocols essentially like, you know, if you sell within the month or within the 2-week reward period, it voids your reward allocation from that and it gets redistributed back into a pool or within like a treasury for some, you know, they all have a different bit of a different setup,
Okay.
but
Kind of more like a
was just kind of
staking
curious
type
if
of
it was
thing where
like
you
if
kind of have a
you
fee.
spend or sell, you kind of lose your ability to claim or get the rewards auto distributed. But in this situation, it's just you essentially lose the percentage of the sale that is different than starting A position to starting B position. So that yeah makes sense.
Correct.
Super easy. Cool. No, so that was from Alex. So Alex, I appreciate that question. Jitters has his hand up. Nita has her hand up. David, there's a few. Tasha, I know Tasha, we already kind of got to your, or no, that was Diddy whose question was asked, kind of similar question from somebody else. We'll see if Tasha's.
Hey man.
Hey, what's up, Jitters? Go ahead whenever you're ready.
Thank you very much. So yeah, it's a really good AMA so far actually. And then I was looking at
We lose him?
Yeah,
Oh,
we
yeah,
lost
yeah.
him there for a second.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Just
There you are.
there we go. Sounds a little echoed, but we got you.
Okay, so I was actually looking at the taxes that you have, you know, especially for the investors and partners, you know, stuff like that. And then I was looking at the taxes, right? You know, since the tax collection for the EverTrade is predetermined, you know, I was looking at the EverTrade and I saw that you already like have already predetermined the taxes, you know, automatically takes taxes. So if it's actually predetermined like that, what if there's a perhaps a low buyer, you know, and he has a $10 and he bought $10 of EverSol and he wants to reach the threshold, right? Now, how's he gonna do that? You know, how's he gonna reach the threshold? How's he gonna qualify to withdraw his his money, at the end, stuff like that. What if there are also wills actually? You know, are there going to be limits for them? For them to perhaps buy or something like that, and pass through the threshold, stuff like that. I was actually thinking there's going to be kind of like a mining strategy, integrated, in the in the Ever Trade. Perhaps that way everything that is predetermined will be easy enough. Tax will be taken for the partners. Tax for yourself, and then both will and low buyers can also benefit a lot too.
Yeah, so I'm not really understanding what you mean about for buyers to reach the threshold, since the only tokens that you need, so all tokens are, you don't have to claim anything. Everything's auto dispersed. You buy, you hold, you receive SOL into the wallet where you purchased from. All that you have to do is hold 35,000 ever, right? Which different one over it, I think it's
So it's
roughly
like $4 or $5 right now.
$4 right now.
4 or 5
So
USD.
yeah, and you don't have to do anything else. You don't have to claim anything. Yeah,
Okay.
it's literally just hold, and then you receive SOL every time that trigger is hit in that wallet with 1 million tokens, and that's based off of volume, obviously, for the buys.
Okay. So it's kind of like when you've hit the million, mark. Cool.
No, yeah,
So
for that wallet to sell off, correct. Yeah.
wallet.
Don't focus on
So-
that part too much, but that's just when it's triggered to shoot the SOL back to the investors, anyone holding 35,000 or more.
Okay, so what if I'm currently, using the EverTrade, right? Perhaps I'm
Mhm.
currently trading, you know, do I still qualify for the threshold stuff, or it's kind of like a separate thing entirely?
EverTrade's something completely separate. I mean, it has nothing to do with that. The benefit, if you do want to buy Ever through the EverTrade, is you do have a 2% tax reduction. Instead of paying 8%, it'll go down to 6. But
Mhm.
yeah, EverTrade is just entirely different than
Yeah, you don't need to
the
have a threshold to
correct.
participate in using the EverTrade bot. Yeah.
So what if, looking at that, that means the taxes is going to be low, 6%, and the other one holding is 8%. Now, wouldn't investors will really be interested in trying to go for the ever trade instead of trying to hold, since it's something that taxes are higher, 2% higher? They'll want something lower, right, based on their budget or whatever stuff. They may, they may consider the taxes, and or feel that the ever trade would be better, and they may not want to hold.
Not
Mm,
really
not
understand.
necessarily. I mean, it's not that much of a tax reduction if you think about it. 2% versus,
Right?
6 versus 8 is not that big of a jump. I mean, I'm trying to understand
I'm trying
what
to
you're getting at.
understand it. Maurice,
Yeah.
do you
Do
get
you
it?
understand, Maurice, what he's saying? I'm trying to get a wrap on what he's asking.
Okay, because yeah, because if you look at it, the partners are gonna take taxes, right? Partners are going to be in the project are going to take taxes, well, for them to benefit too, right? And if partners take taxes, you also take taxes, and perhaps the taxes is 8%, like you said. It's not a big deal, but to some people it could be, because I don't know, based on the nature, they don't want to, when they see something little coming out of their wallet, it kind of like troubles them a lot, and they don't want to prefer the ever trade. They don't want to hold and just want to go trade instead, since it has low taxes. You know,
But
what
what
are
do
you
you
gonna do
mean
about
has
that?
low taxes though? So EverTrade's just a product. It still falls
Mhm.
under EverSol and the token Ever. It's just a product
Yeah.
that we're releasing. It the point of lower taxes is if you buy Ever with the EverTrade bot. So it's just a product. It's still EverSol, if that makes sense.
Okay, so
Oh,
I
yeah,
think
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I understand. I understand.
he's trying to essentially ask, like, are you talking about strictly like the zero tax tokens jitters, like on the other side, like people who would be like
No, no, no.
selling their token or selling a specific token to be buying the Ever token via like the trading bot? And like, are you talking about in the situation where that 0.25% is distributed in the deflationary side to those tokens, or whatever token is bought or
Yeah,
utilized?
we're not taxing other tokens. If you're buying other tokens with the EverTrade bot, we're not
Yeah,
charging tax on those tokens. We're just deflationary. We're burning supply
Mm-hmm.
it's
out of
like
the
a
ecosystem.
service fee essentially for using the bot. The 0.5% is
Exactly.
what I would
And
Correct.
then
classify
every
it
bot
as.
has a service fee already associated with it. We're just taking that service fee, which is less than other service fees that other bots have. We're just taking that service fee and actually applying it to a deflationary process. So we're taking tokens not only out of the ecosystem of whatever token you're buying, but also out of the EverSol ecosystem.
Oh, cool, cool. Now I understand that. Now I understand. I mean, since it's kind of like one product, but like you said, the EverTrade is different from the holding side of things, but it's kind of like it's still one product, right? Still one product. Yeah, I understand. I understand the concept. I understand the concept. And then I was also looking at the trade side of things, right? Since a lot of people are going to be trading, a lot of people love trading, right? They want to use a different platform to trade, right? And then the AI bot is integrated on the trade ever trade side of things. Is the AI bot going to be integrated? Is the ever trade going to be like a third party, perhaps, so we could integrate on Bybits, Binance, some other trading platforms? Is it going to be a third party that we can actually easily integrate on other trading platforms? Could be easily used.
Ace, do you want to take that one? I mean, are any other bots on Bybit or anything like that? I don't know. Do you know?
No, I'm not really understanding it. We did speak about how we did want to make it to other chains and bring it over to other platforms as well, not just Solana. I know we touched on that briefly earlier in the AMA. So that is if that's something to answer your question, I hope so. But yeah, we did touch on that a little bit earlier in the AMA, and that is something we did speak about it, moving it to other chains as well, not just Solana. But for right now, obviously, our focus is on Solana and utilizing that service fee towards the token that you're utilizing with EverTrade to buy, and Ever as well.
Cool, no problem. I'm just gonna send in the question, well, so Maurice or Buck, and then it's just gonna clarify me a lot more. But thank you very much.
Yeah,
for,
no worries, man. Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
it's a pretty
thanks
good
for jumping
strategy,
in,
Thanks.
Jitters. So we do have another follow-up here from Nita. So Nita's question is, with the introduction of your TypeScript that you guys are looking to do on the milestone to allow the creation of rewards tokens, just concerned or unsure how you guys are going to manage or mitigate the potential risks of creation of new tokens, just from a standpoint of community dilution. So she's asking, like, as people are going to be able to introduce or utilize this TypeScript to create their own rewards tokens, how do you do it in a way that it's not diluting your core community or your buyers too much to these projects? And essentially, like, if 4 or 5 rewards based tokens are created and they don't necessarily go well, it could impact future usage of that tool. So
I'll take this.
that's kind
I'll
of,
take this, Maurice.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I'll
kind of
take
along the
this.
lines of
So
her question.
Okay.
yeah,
no
let
worries.
me get
All right,
methodical
we
on
got
this one because yeah. I want you guys to understand this. All right, please understand this. This space has gotten so rampant with gatekeeping, and me, myself, and I, from my opinion, and this could totally be somebody else's opinion. I cannot stand gatekeeping in this space. Knowledge is free, right? And just like with websites, right? People can learn how to build websites. Everything is public, right? Learning stuff. It doesn't necessarily mean someone knows how to do it better, right, than what you have it. Our dev and our team is super honest, and I think the thing that we want to get across with releasing a script is being honest and transparent in this space can bring about a whole lot more trust within it, right? And that's literally our goal here with this project, obviously, to give people rewards and to have people make things passively and to make people happy, but more or less to showcase that you don't have to be greedy and gatekeep knowledge, because if anything, it's public. If you wanted to look for this script somewhere, you probably could. Doesn't mean you know how to nail it. And whoever knows how to nail it, GG's to you. That's great. That takes expertise. So no, we're not worried. We're not worried about other projects coming out that will have a rewards feature that will utilize a similar script, right? It will be done, whether we like it or not, right? But we're not here to gatekeep.
I mean, we're about
So
decentralization as well, and just the space and innovation and everything, just building and other individuals, pioneering their own projects. Also, great. We hope people are doing well with it as well once we push it out and their projects are up and running, and hopefully they can add to it, right? They can add this another sense of innovation as well to the space. So, but yeah, we're not concerned about the dilution aspect or anything with the community or having other individuals go over to, hey, this token that's also running the EverSol contract. So yeah, but we did put in thought with that, and that has been discussed with the team. But yeah, appreciate
No,
it.
I love it. And Nita, always good questions. Yeah, Nita's one of I always use Nita as an example, kind of, because when she first started tuning in last year, just like a little bit more like generic questions, and Buck and her really like chatted. She took the feedback we give on really understanding and jumping into the
Nice.
projects. Like, seriously, now she asks, like, honestly, some of the best and some of
And
team's favorite questions. So
that
yeah,
stuff's
just
important. I mean, that stuff is important. You don't want your community to be diluted and spread all to all these other projects that say are using your contract essentially and launching, right? So no. Yeah, good
Yeah, and
question.
well, it's also because, like, if those communities don't have the same values of you, and this is like where I run into issues, right? Is like I'm very open in the space, right? I'm not one of those people who like needs to silo stuff. I know what I do. I know the value
Yep,
that
yep.
I bring. So like if there's another host or another channel out there, I'm not afraid to like talk or work with them because I'm like, I know what
Yep.
I do. I'm confident in what I do. That's what it is, you know?
And we're taking the
But
same approach. So
I love it. But if like those communities that maybe utilize your tech, if they're not following the same values or same mentality of you guys, that's where it can start to dilute the overall brand and like, you know, the values that you stand for and the reason why people maybe are using your tech or interacting with the EverSol brand to begin with, right? So yeah, really good question. Just something that
No,
it's
yeah,
kind of like that.
I get
It's
the
like that
question.
ever
Yeah,
evolving, like you
yeah,
always have to
ever
just be
ever
like kind
evolving.
of paying attention. Yeah, it's like it never stops in a sense on that side. So a really
No,
good
I think
question. And
what she pointed out was if we can coexist and you know like you do with your T channel, Maurice, like you're here, right? And you don't mind if people branch out and they utilize your ideals, right? And I think that's where we stand, is that we know who we are, we know what ideals that we have, right? A knife is a knife in the right hands. You know, if a knife goes into the wrong hands, like who's at fault, right? I like, am I at fault because I created the knife? You know, I used it for good. It's hard. It's hard to determine, right, whether or not things would be used for good or for bad. So coexistence, though, I think is what we're looking for in this space to kind of spread more because there are instances where projects can coexist with each other and we can play nice, right? Again, we can't filter out the bad actors. You know, they're gonna happen the way they happen, but it doesn't scare us. We're not scared, you know.
yeah.
So, but great question. I love the question. It's an honest
All about
question, and
innovation too.
yeah,
No, we don't monopolization and taking or allowing or spreading this code or transcript, getting that out into the public, but then asking for fees. We're not about that stuff. There's another project that's doing that, and they're asking for outrageous fees. But we're completely against the whole monopolization, and we're more so for decentralization.
like it. Yeah. No, again, I completely understand it. People even for us are like, you know, we've been around for a long time and you know, we kind of do what we do and we've done it very well for a long time, but you know, I see a lot of other people who are much newer in the space and like I get some of the price quotes when I'm helping projects with some back end marketing and stuff. And I just kind of like laugh. I'm like, well, if they provide that much value, you can go ahead
Yeah.
and use them because I'm like, I've been doing this for 2.5 years and like I mean,
Yep.
we charge like still what is in the reality in the real world a good amount of money for an AMA for services. But if you put it into the crypto space, like there's influencers out there who charge 30K for fucking a week of support.
Yep.
And I'm like,
Yep.
dude, these guys need to go
yeah,
back to the real world where
Been in
people are
the
making
been
an
in the
average of
space on
40K on a year. So
been
they
on
also
project
ask for
development now
supply.
for I've been in project development for about 4 years now in DeFi, right? So, yep, I've seen the ups and downs and people, and yeah, it's crazy. We'll definitely
yeah,
say
so
that.
I mean,
It's
again,
like, hey
Cross
Caesar,
streets.
I'll call your project if you give me you know 5 ETH up front and 1% supply. Okay,
2%
yeah,
supply, yeah, that I'm definitely not going to sell on
It's
you.
only getting
Don't worry
worse,
crazy
about
man. It's only
that.
getting worse.
Yeah, it is,
Yeah,
right? And as the bull
the
comes,
greed.
people that,
It's a lot
you
of
know,
greed.
have a little bit of an impact once the bull comes and people think that money is just flying. Like I'm honestly scared for marketing teams once the bull comes, like what people are going to actually ask them to pay. Like
Yep.
it's going to be insane. So, you know, I think if we could find a few lower cost, high value
'Cause
alternatives and just
We,
kind of
we
like,
we know
you
how
know your
much some people
network.
were back in 2021. So
Dude, I know how much some people were in 2021 and you
we'll
know
see
what?
those
We
prices come
used to
back
be in BNB, now we're in ETH, but I think our price point has actually stayed
relatively.
relatively similar.
Okay,
You
that's
know,
good. That's
it
good.
actually
Good for
went down a little bit when the whole Loon's like
the Luna crash.
Luna
Oh yeah, the
crash,
Luna
yeah,
crash.
Luna
Yeah.
Classic crash happened in May. We dropped our prices because the market was just seeming a little sketchy. So
Yeah.
we went down a little bit and it helped with volume because teams were like, yeah, you know, people aren't buying the way they were with the skepticism right now, but they're like at a lower price. Like you guys are definitely the best. And, you know, we converted to ETH since. So, but yeah, we've been 2 years relatively the same price point, but we've grown to like just being on Telegram to now we're on Twitter. Now we have a YouTube channel. So the values like span across three things. And then I see other people, charge the same as much as us for just a Telegram AMA that, I mean, I don't know because I can't speak to them, but I don't know many hosts who put as much work in terms of prep and stuff as I do. So I just, yeah, it's curious. It's crazy, man. And, I always say I can sleep at night because of that fact. I
Yeah, that's
always
good.
say that I can sleep very comfortably versus, some of the other, people in the space because, I know what we do. And I think, yeah, you guys, again, I like your mentality. I like the vision. Even when I was chatting to Four Leaf, I was like, seems like you guys have a really solid kind of like mid to long term plan. And I like how it's Solana adjacent and really trying to add value onto like the native chain that you guys have your token based on. So yeah, like what you guys are doing. Really big fan of your attitudes. I mean, obviously different, I'm a big fan of yours. Love that you're getting more active and, just jumping in here with different projects from week to week. And yeah, Ace, seems like you have a good experience in the space.
Yeah.
Super easy to host you guys, super easy to come back with those questions, that the project has a lot of potential and it's exciting because of the fact, like I said, get rewarded in that native chain as you guys grow your community, as you guys get some partnerships, there's that mutual benefit and the value that people can use the SOL that they get rewarded with to buy back in. And, in less than a week, different mentioned at only a 0.5 supply hold, he's been rewarded back in 5 to 6 SOL, which is a few $100s, right? So, not a ton of volume, but as that goes up, I mean, you guys are doing well, but as the volume goes up based on the taxes, it's just going to keep getting better. So, all the best to you guys. I'm a big fan. You answered the questions well. I'll see you guys tonight too at 8 p.m. So I'm excited to have you guys come by. I know you're more of a utility, but I just think right now the meme space is just a better fit because we've had a lot more SOL based projects. There's some good SOL buyers in there. So yeah, I'm excited to have you guys kind of come by that space tonight at 8. And from there, I'll just have to get the tweet up. Was a little bit delayed and slept through the morning. So I'll get the tweet up today. And then I'll kind of do a mix of, mentioning the AMA, pointing people towards your socials, but also mentioning that, like, if you missed, come by the space tonight and get a sneak peek. So I'll drop that this afternoon, and then the YouTube video should get uploaded tomorrow. So that will make sure you guys are kind of having the 3 social coverage that I talked about there.
Awesome, man. Much appreciated. Much appreciated.
Yeah, dude. As always, too, Maurice, you and Buck, man. I know I've talked to you guys quite a lot. Not only here with these AMAs, but obviously on spaces with like Kid and Walt, obviously in MMKK. We know a lot of the same people, and you know how honest I am. I'm like a chef, only eats, what I like. So, I honestly am super, super bullish on this project because of the transparency and the things that I'm witnessing myself with the rewards. So, pleasure being up here with you guys. Couldn't wait to talk to you guys about this one, and I hope everyone that's hearing this and tuning in, right, jumps in that Telegram and they ask all the questions they need to ask. Refer back to this recording, obviously.
Yep.
But we're here.
And with that too, questions, right? We have a 24/7 team. We have worldwide coverage, and someone's always in there. Everyone's knowledgeable. So
I know you guys, again, really good presentation. Great way to start off the week. I think we only had 2 AMAs last week as I was back home helping my parents out with some of the appointment stuff that we got going on lately. But I was excited to have you guys on. Didn't even know Different was speaking here for this one. So obviously a nice little treat to start our Monday for the apes, having a fellow YouTube ape, here representing. But yeah, concept is good, super simplistic, easy to understand. We've seen them take off on other chains before. You guys are, as mentioned, almost 50% of your way towards that first milestone from the holders count at 5K. And I'm excited to see, what you can continue to do. There's been a nice little kind of reversal moving from Sunday to start the week. And as we say, if you have momentum going into a Monday, it could make for a nice week for a team in a community. So, I'm excited to have you guys come by the space tonight. 8 p.m. Eastern. I told the speaker that you guys will be there, so he got you locked in the schedule. If you guys have to jump in a little closer to 9 p.m., that's okay. We typically introductions last about 30 minutes. We do have 2 projects that have to go first because like their speakers are 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. where they're going to be. So like those 2 projects are going to be up 1 and 2. But after that, you know, if you guys wanted to jump in closer to 9 p.m., that's okay. It should fit perfectly for the schedule. So no rush to get in there right for 8 if you're a little bit busy or anything. So yeah, other than that, no, super excited. And you know, community growth, you know, you guys keep growing. Who knows what can happen? It's an easy concept and you're doing a great job so far. So good first week, and let's keep the momentum going to week 2.
Thanks, Maurice. Appreciate
Yes,
your
sir.
time, buddy.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks so much, guys.